Welcome back to The Explainer. If you're a fan of diving headfirst into complex, esoteric lore, chronological histories, and psychological profiles of interstellar beings, you are absolutely going to love what we've got today. We're stepping into some truly extraordinary territory to unpack the incredibly specific, deeply fascinating history of a very unique group of alien refugees. Let's get right into it. To really understand this lore, we have to anchor ourselves in the physical source material. We're looking at Ryuho Okawa's book, Messengers from Outer Space. Now, keep in mind, this isn't just your standard, lighthearted sci-fi anthology. This text makes sweeping, highly detailed claims that aim to fundamentally overturn our entire understanding of human history. Our goal in this explainer isn't to debate those claims, but to neutrally document and explore the intricate universe this book builds. And let me tell you, the mythology here is meticulously structured. Okay, let's dive into this. Right on the cover of the translated source text is a claim that immediately grabs you. Planet of the Apes was real. Time-traveling Alpha Centaurians. It's an incredibly bold statement, and it perfectly sets up the exact focus of our explainer today. We aren't looking at generic gray aliens or typical flying saucers. We're zeroing in on a highly specific narrative about a civilization straight out of the Alpha Centauri star system. To grasp this complex lore efficiently, here's our roadmap. 1. The cosmic premise. 2. The Alpha Centaurian profile. 3. Ideological war and escape. 4. The pragmatic alien mindset. And 5. Defending against reptilian invasions. Starting right off with Section 1, the cosmic premise. So, what's really interesting here is the sheer variety of life this text actually proposes. It teases so many different alien races interacting with Earth. It talks about brave beings from Jupiter with giant fangs, entities from Vega flying down to the lost continent of Mu, and even feline-type aliens. I mean, it's a crowded cosmos. But to truly understand the depth of this mythology, we need absolute focus. So for today, we are zeroing in entirely on Chapter 2, which focuses exclusively on the narrative of the Alpha Centaurians. Moving right along to Section 2, the Alpha Centaurian profile. Let's talk about who we're actually dealing with here. When you hear the word alien, you probably have a very specific pop culture image popping into your head, right? Well, the source text is extremely explicit about their physiology. It describes these Alpha Centaurians as closely resembling the upright walking apes from the movie Planet of the Apes. This is a completely crucial detail for us to keep in mind. We aren't talking about ethereal beings made of pure energy, we're talking about physical, primate-like entities. It really grounds the mythology in something highly tangible, biological, and surprisingly familiar to us. Which brings us to Section 3, Ideological War and Escape. Now, their tragic trajectory actually began with a utopian origin on their home planet. Everything was peaceful. However, that peace was absolutely shattered by a severe ideological conflict. And we're not talking about a minor political disagreement here. This was a civil war so devastating it left their entire society completely vulnerable. Because of this fracture, their planet was ultimately conquered and taken over by entities the text explicitly describes as devils. Facing total annihilation, the surviving Alpha Centaurians had to take some incredibly desperate measures. They used highly advanced time travel technology to flee their dying world. They didn't come to Earth as cosmic explorers or conquerors, they arrived as desperate, time-traveling interstellar refugees. Let's look at Section 4, the pragmatic alien mindset. To understand their mission on Earth, we first have to understand their psychology. Look, when you lose literally everything to an invading force of devils, you kind of stop caring about poetry and painting. They developed an extreme, hardcore utilitarianism. Science and technology became their absolute priority, viewed as the only tangible ways to survive and defend themselves. Aesthetics and art, they were cast aside as entirely impractical and useless in the face of an existential threat. They stripped away absolutely anything that didn't directly contribute to their physical survival. The text captures this perfectly, stating they are highly pragmatic. They value science and technology far more than aesthetics. Think about how this relates to human survival, right? In a massive crisis, we immediately prioritize shelter, food, and medicine over, say, home decoration. The Alpha Centaurians are locked in a permanent, civilization-wide state of emergency. This extreme pragmatism makes their otherwise alien psychology incredibly understandable and honestly pretty relatable. And finally, Section 5, Defending Against Reptilian Invasions. The source text makes one thing perfectly clear. Earth is not just some peaceful haven or a quiet retirement home for these refugees. Earth is a highly strategic point of defense. It's the new battleground. They aren't just hiding out here. They are actively preparing to face a specific cosmic enemy detailed heavily in the lore, the reptilians. And this brilliantly illustrates their overarching strategy. First, they arrive on Earth as refugees, but they absolutely do not sit idle. Second, and this is the really fascinating part, the text claims they are working to covertly advance Earth's scientific development. They are essentially seeding humanity with the technological leaps necessary to protect ourselves. Why? Well, that leads to the third point. To bolster planetary defense systems. They are weaponizing their pragmatic love for hard science to turn Earth into a literal fortress. All of this culminates in their ultimate goal, to thwart impending reptilian invasions. They lost their first home to invaders, and they refuse to let their second home fall to the reptilians. So, when you look at the cohesive arc of their history, it all connects perfectly. Surviving the tragic fall of their homeworld to the devils forced that desperate time travel jump to Earth. Here, they utilize their hyper-pragmatic, science-first mindset to artificially accelerate human technology. And it's all building to one ultimate goal, standing shoulder to shoulder with humanity to defend this planet against the reptilians. It is a stunningly logical flow, from a tragic origin story right up to a highly focused, ongoing military and scientific mission. Which leaves us with this final, lingering thought. According to the internal mythology of this source material, our sudden, incredibly rapid technological advancements over the last century might not just be human ingenuity at work, it might actually be a cosmic defense initiative. If these hyper-pragmatic, upright rocking apes from Alpha Centauri are already here, quietly advancing our science and preparing our defenses, what exactly does that mean for humanity's future? Are we truly ready for the war they are preparing us for? Thank you so much for exploring this lore with me today on The Explainer. Keep analyzing, keep questioning, and I'll catch you in the next one.